Former President Donald Trump going to court to fight three of the country's biggest tech giants. He is, as he just announced today, suing Facebook, Twitter, and Google, alleging he's been wrongfully censored and conservative voices are being silenced.
We're demanding an end to the shadow banning, a stop to the silencing, and a stop to the blacklisting, banishing, and canceling that you know so well. Our case will prove this censorship is unlawful.
Colorado Congressman Ken Buck, a ranking member of the Judiciary Subcommittee dealing with antitrust matters in the Congressional Internet Caucus, joins us now. You are on the front lines of that very message. What are Republicans specifically doing about this? We hear the objections to what is going on with big tech, but what are you and other Republicans doing about it?
Well, I think President Trump makes a great point first about the shadow banning, about the canceling, about the censorship. And the answer is an all of the above strategy. We've got to change Section 230. We have to amend Section 230 in the U.S. House and send it to the Senate, and hopefully have President Biden sign that. I don't know that he will, but we have to work on Section 230. We also have to work on the monopoly laws. President Trump has said at rally after rally that we need to break these tech companies up. And we have introduced 6 bills. They have gone through a markup in the Judiciary Committee. They are headed to the floor of the U.S. House. The Senate is working on similar legislation at the same time to make sure that we introduce competition into the marketplace and make sure that we have 5 or 6 Facebooks and 3 or 4 Googles and enough so that our message as conservatives can get out. And frankly, the liberals should be scared to death about censorship because they're next. If what they say is displeasing to these corporate executives, they will be censored also. And so you see a bipartisan effort in Congress to make sure that we have more competition and hold these big tech companies accountable.
Congressman, what is your warning if former President Donald Trump doesn't prevail with this lawsuit, if Republicans don't get their way with trying to stop censorship and break up these enormous companies? What is your warning about what this could all look like if it continues in the way that it is?
Well, these 4 companies, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, have a larger revenue than the gross national product of all but 18 countries in the world. The power that these companies exert on Americans is enormous. And my warning is very simple. These companies are something to be very, very afraid of and something that we need to take very seriously. And I understand that there are my fellow conservatives out there that say, well, we don't want to make big government bigger in an attempt to deal with big tech. We have to deal with big tech because they are out of control and they're going to hurt America in the long run.
Congressman Kevin McCarthy, the GOP leader, tweeted this out. House Republicans are leading the charge against out-of-control big tech. That's why we submitted these video questions to the FTC, given proposals to give the FTC more power. They should explain how they'd use that to stop big tech censorship and bias against conservatives. I know there's a lot of talk about money tied to members of Congress. They're taking money from some of these companies and others, and the influence that they have over some members of Congress, not naming names. But are you confident that there is agreement and a general consensus push within your party to get something done on this?
We need to make sure that there is, and I have to tell you, I am working very hard to bring unity on that issue, and I believe that we will unify both on the Section 230 speech issue as well as on the antitrust issues in the Judiciary Committee. But I feel very strongly that we will unify, and the Democrats, all but the California Democrats, are on board with us, and I think that we will prevail and we'll make some dramatic changes in the law.
Just really want to quickly end with this. Mike Pompeo, he says he's visited countries where freedom of speech is non-existent. During our administration, Trump and I never stopped fighting to protect your voice here in America. The First Amendment is our most precious amendment, and I will never stop fighting to protect it. So we saw President Trump advance that push today when he announced that lawsuit. Congressman, great to have you on. We'll follow up with you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.